Bitcoin in plain English.
Welcome back to Bitcoin in Plain English.
It is so great to be back.
You know, I was looking through all the notes and articles we have for today, and I have to be honest, I feel a little silly.
Why is that?
Well, we are talking about something I use every single day. I mean, I probably use it 10, maybe 20 times a day. It is the reason I go to work. It is the reason I stress out at the end of the month.
It is the invisible force that basically rules our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you ask me to actually define it, like really explain how it works, I realized I couldn't do it.
You are definitely not alone in that. Most people never think about it.
Right. So I want to start today with a very simple question, just to get us going. What is money?
It sounds like a trick question, doesn't it?
It does, because if you ask me, I would just pull out my credit card or show you a $50,000 on bill or open my banking app and say, well, this is money.
Right. The cash or the number on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what most people would say.
But that is not the real answer, is it?
No, it is not. Those things, the paper, the plastic, those are just what money looks like right now. They are just the shape it takes.
So what is the actual definition?
To really understand it, you have to think of money as a technology. Money is a tool.
A tool, like a hammer.
Exactly. A hammer is a tool invented to drive a nail. A smartphone is a tool invented to communicate over long distances. And money is a tool invented to solve a very specific, very frustrating human problem.
Okay, wait. A problem. What problem did money solve?
The problem of trading. Without money, trading things is a total nightmare.
A nightmare. I mean, intuitively, I give you something I have and you give me something you have. It seems simple enough. Do we really need money in the middle?
Well, let's test that idea. Let's do a little role play based on the rice farmer story from our notes.
Oh, I love a good role play. Who am I?
You are a rice farmer from hundreds of years ago. No banks, no apps, just you and your farm. You have worked hard all year, and you have 10 heavy bags of premium rice.
Okay, I have my 10 bags of rice.
But look down at your feet. Your shoes are completely falling apart. You are practically barefoot. You really need new boots.
Ray, I need shoes.
So you walk into my shop. I am the village shoemaker. What do you say to me?
Okay, I walk in. I say, hello, shoemaker. I have this amazing, top-quality rice. I will give you 10 heavy bags of it for just one pair of boots.
And I look at you and say, wow, that is great rice.
Yeah.
But look around my shop. I already have bags of rice everywhere from other customers. My wife is sick of eating rice. If I take your 10 bags, it'll just sit in the corner and go bad.
Oh, come on. Just take the rice. You can trade it with someone else later.
But I don't want to be a rice trader. I make shoes. That is my job.
Right.
What I really want right now is a nice fresh salmon for dinner. If you bring me a fish, I will give you the boots.
You have to be kidding me. This is so annoying.
What do you have to do now?
Now I have to pick up these 10 heavy bags of rice, walk out of your shop, go all the way down to the river, and find a fisherman.
Exactly. And you just have to pray the fisherman actually likes rice.
Right. So I find the fisherman. I say, hey, fisherman, I need a salmon so I can buy some shoes. Will you take my rice?
And let's say I am the fisherman now. I look at you and say, no thanks. I have plenty of fish, but I am really cold. I need firewood to keep warm tonight.
This is a joke. So now I need to find a woodcutter. I have to trade my rice for wood, then carry the wood to the fisherman, trade the wood for fish, and carry the fish to the shoemaker.
Yes. And by the time you do all that running around, the fish might have gone bad in the sun, or the shoemaker might have closed his shop for the night.
That is exhausting. I would just stay barefoot.
It really is exhausting. And economists actually have a specific name for this exact headache. It is called the coincidence of wants.
Coincidence of wants. Let's break that down.
It means that for a direct trade, a barter to happen, a double coincidence has to occur.
I have to want exactly what you have.
Right. And I have to want exactly what you have at the exact same time. And as you just saw, finding that perfect match is incredibly rare.
It is too much friction. Society couldn't really grow if we were stuck doing that all day.
Exactly. So humans are smart. We invented a tool to fix the problem. We invented money.
The middleman.
Yes, money acts as the medium of exchange. It is the bridge. Now, you don't have to find a fisherman who wants rice. You just sell your rice to anyone who wants it, and they give you money.
And money is light. It doesn't rot like fish. I put it in my pocket, and then you walk into my shoe shop. I take your money, not because I want to eat the money, but because I know the fisherman will accept it when I buy my salmon later. So money eliminates the coincidence of wants. That makes total sense.
It makes trading simple.
Okay, so I get that money is a tool. But here's the next big question from our research. If money is just a placeholder, why can't we just use anything?
What do you mean?
Why not use leaves from a tree? Why not use sand from the beach? Historically, we used gold for a long time, then we used paper, and now everyone is talking about Bitcoin. How do we decide what makes good money?
That is the trillion-dollar question right there. The best way to think about it is like a job interview.
A job interview for the position of money.
Exactly. Imagine you are the boss of the economy. You have an open job position called money, and you have a stack of resumes on your desk. Sand applies for the job. Rocks apply. Seashells apply. Cows apply.
Okay, I am the boss. How do I choose?
Use a strict scorecard. To get the job, the candidate has to pass 6 specific tests. These are the 6 properties of good money.
6 properties. Let's go through them one by one. I really want to see how this works, especially to understand why Bitcoin is even in this conversation.
All right. Property number 1. Is it divisible?
Divisible, meaning can you break it into smaller pieces easily?
Right, without destroying its value. So let's look at the resume for cows. People actually used cattle as money a long time ago.
They did, but let's say I go to a cafe to buy a cup of coffee. The coffee is 5,000 won, but my cow is worth, say, 5 million won. How do I pay for the coffee?
You can't. If you chop off a tiny piece of the cow to pay for the coffee, the cow dies. The value is destroyed, and it is very messy.
So livestock fails the divisibility test. What about gold?
Gold is better. You can melt it down into smaller coins or dust, but it is hard to do that at a checkout counter. You need extreme heat and tools.
Right. And what about Bitcoin? How does it score here?
Bitcoin passes this test perfectly. Because it is digital, 1 Bitcoin can be divided into 100 million smaller units.
And those are called Satoshis, right?
Yes, Satoshis. You can send someone 0.000001 Bitcoin. It is mathematically precise.
Wow. Okay. So Bitcoin gets a perfect score for being divisible. What is the second property on the scorecard?
Property number 2. Is it portable? Can you carry it and move it easily?
Gold really struggles with this one.
Big time. Gold is incredibly heavy. If you want to move $1 billion in gold to another country, you need armored trucks, cargo ships, and a team of armed guards. It takes weeks and costs a fortune.
Paper cash is better than gold for carrying around.
It is better, yes, but still bulky. $1 million in cash fills a large suitcase. And if you try to walk through an airport with a suitcase full of paper money, security is going to stop you immediately.
That is true. But Bitcoin is just code on the internet.
It is completely weightless. In fact, you don't even need a phone to carry it. You can memorize your 12-word seed phrase, and you can cross any border in the world with billions of dollars stored entirely in your head.
That is wild. Money in your head. So purely digital money wins on portability. What is property number 3?
Property number 3. Is it durable? Does it last a long time without breaking down?
We talked about using fish earlier. Fish is terrible money because it rots in a few days.
Right. If your savings are in fish, you are bankrupt by the end of the week. But even paper money is quite fragile. The average paper bill only lasts about 6 years before it tears or gets destroyed in the laundry.
Gold is the winner here, historically.
Absolutely. Gold is basically immortal. We pull gold coins out of the ocean from shipwrecks that are hundreds of years old, and they still shine perfectly.
And Bitcoin. How durable is computer code?
It is as durable as the internet itself. It doesn't rust, it doesn't tear, it doesn't rot. As long as the global network of computers keeps running, your Bitcoin exists forever.
Makes sense. Okay, property number 4.
Is it fungible?
Fungible. That is a heavy vocabulary word. Let's explain that one clearly.
Fungible just means that every single unit is exactly identical to every other unit. They are perfectly interchangeable.
So if I borrow a 10,001 bill from you today, and next week I pay you back with a completely different 10,001 bill?
I don't care at all. A 10,001 bill is a 10,001 bill. Cash is fungible.
But what is something that is not fungible?
Diamonds. Imagine I borrow your beautiful diamond ring, and next week I give you back a completely different diamond.
I would be so angry. The new diamond might be cloudy or cut poorly or have a weird color.
Exactly. You would have to inspect it with a magnifying glass. That is why diamonds are terrible money. They are not fungible.
And Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is perfectly fungible. 1 Bitcoin is always exactly equal to another Bitcoin. The computer network treats them all exactly the same.
Okay, moving down the scorecard. Property number 5.
Is it verifiable? Meaning, can you easily prove that it is real and not fake?
This is a huge problem with gold, isn't it? In old movies, you always see people biting a gold coin to see if it's soft.
Which doesn't really work, by the way. Today, scammers put cheap metals like tungsten inside gold bars. To truly verify a gold bar, you need an ultrasound machine or you have to drill a hole into it.
And paper money. People counterfeit paper money all the time.
It is a massive global crime industry. Shop owners have to use UV lights and special markers just to check if a bill is real.
But with Bitcoin, how do you check if code is fake?
You don't have to. The network checks it for you using math. It is instant. When someone sends you Bitcoin, millions of computers instantly check the entire history of that coin to prove it is real. It is completely impossible to counterfeit Bitcoin.
So it is verified by pure math. That brings us to the final property, property number 6. And looking at the notes, this seems like the most important one.
It really is. The final test. Is it scarce? Is the supply limited?
We talked about this briefly in episode 3, the idea of hard money.
Right. If you can easily make unlimited amounts of something, it becomes totally worthless.
This is why sand didn't get the job.
Exactly. If we use sand for money, everyone would just go to the beach with a bucket and become a billionaire. There is too much of it.
But this is the big problem with regular paper money today, isn't it?
Yes. Governments and central banks can just print more paper money whenever they want. And they do. But Bitcoin has a hard limit built into its code.
The 21 million cap.
Yes. There will never, ever be more than 21 million Bitcoin. It is mathematically perfectly scarce.
Wow. So when you look at this scorecard, Bitcoin isn't just a weird internet experiment. It actually passes the job interview for money better than anything else we have ever used.
It scores the highest in almost every category. It is more portable than gold, it is more verifiable than cash, and it is scarcer than both of them.
It is like an upgrade to the technology.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes so much sense. Now let's look at the timeline in our notes. Because the history of money is really just a story of us trying to find the perfect tool, right?
Yes, it is a fascinating history.
Yeah.
And it is basically a cycle. We solve one problem, but by doing that, we accidentally create a new problem.
Let's trace it. So stage 1 was barter, the rice for the shoes.
And the problem there was the coincidence of wants. It was just too slow.
So we moved to stage 2, commodity money, using things from nature. Shells, salt, beads.
Yes. By the way, here's a fun fact from the research. Do you know where the English word salary comes from?
Like your monthly paycheck? No, where?
It comes from the Latin word for salt. Roman soldiers were actually paid in salt sometimes because it was so valuable for keeping food from rotting.
Salary from salt. That is really cool.
But there was a big problem with using things like shells or glass beads as money.
Because people could just find more of them.
Yes, or make more of them. There is a very sad story in our notes about agri beads in Africa.
Right, the glass beads.
For a long time, these beautiful glass beads were very rare in Africa. They were used as money. People traded their land and their cows for these beads.
Oh, then what happened?
European explorers arrived, and they realized they could mass-produce exact copies of these glass beads back in Europe for almost zero cost.
Oh, no.
They loaded up huge ships full of cheap glass beads, sailed down to Africa, and basically bought everything of real value, the gold, the land, the resources, using cheap glass.
Because to the locals, it was money.
Right. But the Europeans had solved the scarcity problem. They flooded the market, and the local economy was completely destroyed.
That is a harsh lesson in inflation. If your money isn't scarce, someone will steal your wealth by making more of it.
Exactly. So humans learned from that. We moved to stage 3, metal money, gold and silver.
Because you cannot print gold. It takes hard work to dig it out of the ground.
Right. Gold solved the scarcity problem, but it brought back the portability problem. Gold is incredibly heavy and very dangerous to transport over long distances. Robbers would attack gold shipments constantly.
So to fix the heavy gold problem, we invented stage 4, paper money.
But it is important to remember, the first paper money was not what we have today. It was just a receipt.
A receipt for gold.
Yes. You would put your heavy gold bars into a safe bank vault, and the bank would give you a piece of paper that said, "This paper represents 1 ounce of gold."
That is brilliant. The paper is light, it is easy to carry, and you know the gold is safe.
It worked wonderfully. But it introduced a brand new problem, the trust problem.
Banks got greedy.
They realized that people were just trading the paper receipts. Almost nobody ever came back to the bank to take out the actual heavy gold.
So the banks started writing extra receipts.
Yes. They printed more paper receipts than they had gold in the vault. They created paper money out of thin air.
And that works fine until a panic happens and everyone runs to the bank on the same day to get their gold.
Exactly. Which leads us directly to the final stage, stage 5, The money we use today.
Fiat money.
Fiat money. Fiat is a Latin word. It just means let it be done or by decree.
The notes say the crucial year here is 1971. What happened then?
In 1971, the United States government officially broke the connection between paper money and gold. They said paper money is no longer a receipt for gold. It is just money because we say it is money.
So the one, the dollar, the euro, none of it is backed by gold anymore.
Nothing physical at all.
So what is it backed by?
Just trust. Trust that the government will manage it well. And this brings us to the scariest part of today's deep dive, the store of value problem.
Okay, this is the part with the Kimbap test. I was looking this earlier, and it really blew my mind.
It is the perfect way to visualize what inflation is doing to us. So think back to the year 2005.
Okay, 2005, I was still a student then.
If you went to a little snack shop for lunch, how much was a standard roll of kimbap?
Oh, that was easy. It was always exactly 1,001. It was the standard cheap lunch.
All right, 1,001. Now, jump forward 10 years. The year is 2015. How much was that same roll of kimbap?
It had definitely gone up. It was about 2001 by then.
Okay, and today, the year 2025, how much is a roll of kimbap now?
I just bought one yesterday. It is 4,001, and if you go somewhere nice, it is even more.
So let me ask you a serious question. Is the kimbap you bought yesterday 4 times larger than the one from 2005?
Definitely not. Actually, I think the rolls are getting a little thinner.
Is the rice 4 times more nutritious? Is the seaweed 4 times tastier?
No, it is exactly the same kimbap.
Exactly. The actual value of the food did not change at all. What changed was the measuring stick. The money lost its value. So it takes 4 times as much money to buy the exact same amount of food.
Because the government kept printing more of it.
Yes. The notes use a great analogy. Holding fiat money in your bank account is like holding a melting ice cube in your hand. Every year, a little bit of your purchasing power just melts away.
That is so depressing.
Since the year 1913, the U.S. dollar has lost about 97% of its original value.
97%. That is almost all of it.
And here is the statistic that really shocked me. Do you know the average lifespan of a fiat currency throughout history?
Like how long before it totally fails? I don't know, maybe 100 years?
The historical average is only 27 years.
Wait, 27 years? That is nothing.
It is incredibly short. Throughout all of human history, governments always give in to the temptation to print too much money. It causes hyperinflation, the money becomes worthless, and they have to start over with a new currency. No fiat currency has ever survived forever.
Wow. We spend our whole lives working so hard to collect this paper, and historically it just breaks every few decades.
That is the harsh reality of trust-based money, and that is exactly why the sources argue that Bitcoin is stage 6 in the evolution of money.
The solution to the trust problem.
Yes, because Bitcoin is the first money in human history backed by pure mathematics, not by politicians. It completely solves the printing problem. Nobody can print more than 21 million.
You know, before we started researching this, I always thought Bitcoin was risky because it was just new internet money. And now?
Now, after looking at the history of paper money, maybe holding on to a melting ice cube is the actual risky choice.
That realization right there, that is what people call taking the orange pill. Bitcoiners say, Bitcoin fixes this. It fixes the problem of your hard work being stolen slowly by inflation.
It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is just a tool that actually works properly.
Exactly. The best tool for the job.
All right, this has been an amazing conversation, but before my brain completely melts like an ice cube, we need to do our vocabulary review. We cover some very important words today.
Let's do it. A quick glossary of money.
Okay, I will say the word, and you give us the simple definition in a sentence. First word.
Money.
Definition. A tool invented to make trading easier and solve the coincidence of wants.
Money is a technology for exchanging value efficiently.
Second term. Medium of exchange.
Definition. The item used to facilitate a trade between a buyer and a seller.
The Korean won is a widely accepted medium of exchange.
Third term, and this was the painful kimbap lesson, store of value.
Definition. An asset that maintains its worth over time without losing value.
Gold is a good store of value, but paper money loses value due to inflation.
Fourth term. Unit of account.
Definition. The standard measurement used to set prices and value things.
In Korea, the won is the unit of account for all goods and services.
Fifth term. Barter.
Definition. The direct trade of goods for other goods without using any money.
Barter was slow and frustrating because it relied on finding the perfect trade partner.
Which leads to our sixth term, the problem with barter. coincidence of wants.
Definition: the rare situation where two people each hold the exact item the other person wants.
Money solved the coincidence of wants problem by acting as a universal middleman.
Seventh term: fiat money.
Definition: currency that is not backed by gold or physical commodities, but only by government rule.
The US dollar and the Korean won are examples of fiat money that rely on our trust.
And the final term? Sound money.
Definition: money that protects your purchasing power over time, usually because its supply is strictly limited.
Bitcoiners believe Bitcoin is sound money because the supply is fixed at 21 million.
Perfect. That covers all the vocabulary for today.
So just to give a quick summary of everything we explored today.
Please do.
We use money every day, but it is just a tool. It was invented to solve the nightmare of barter. Throughout history, it evolved from shells to gold to paper receipts and finally to the fiat money we use today.
But fiat money has a serious flaw. It loses its value over time because governments can just print more of it. We saw that clearly with the price of kimbap.
Exactly. And that is why Bitcoin was created. When you look at the 6 properties of good money, Bitcoin scores the highest because it is divisible, portable, durable, fungible, verifiable, and above all, perfectly scarce.
I am definitely never going to look at a 1001 bill the same way again. It feels less like actual money and more like a measuring tape that keeps getting shorter every year.
That is a great way to put it. You are finally seeing how the system really works.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode and maybe you had an aha moment about why your lunch costs more every single year, please subscribe to Bitcoin in plain English.
Give us a like and be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss our next topic.
We have so much more to cover. But remember, understanding money is a journey, not a race. Thank you so much for listening.
See you next time.